So go to chapter 7, demand. Definition of demand. When economists discuss demand, they are discussing effective demand. They define this as the willingness and the ability to buy a product. An individual may want a product, but if they cannot afford it, their demand is not effective, as a firm will not be prepared to sell it to them. So for economists, they don't see demand as just demand. They see demand as being effective, because it's only when it is effective there will be transaction. Firms will not be willing to sell to customers or consumers that are not willing to pay. So because we said demand is what the willingness and the ability of a consumer to be able to buy a product at a given price and time. So look at it, the willingness and the ability of a consumer to be able to buy a product at a given price and time. So that means it must be effective. It's not only when you need, okay, I needed this good, I need to buy this good. But if you don't have the money to buy it, if you don't have the willingness to buy it, then you can't get the product. So that's why they said economists will talk about demand as effective demand. It is effective because there's the willingness and the ability to buy at the price businesses or firms are willing to sell. That is effective demand. Is it clear? Is it clear, please? So go to demand and price. Demand and price are inversely related. This means demand will rise as prices fall and fall as prices rises. So demand and price, they have inverse relationship. Why is it inverse? It is inverse because as price goes up, the demand for a product falls down or comes down. As price goes down, the demand for a product increases. So that means it is inverse. That is what they are telling us here. Do you get it, please? So a higher price will mean that fewer people will be able to afford the product. They will also be less willing to buy it, and will be more likely to switch to rival products. So as price rises, the willingness and ability to buy a product falls. Because we said there's inverse relationship between demand and price. It means as soon as the price of a product increases, the quantity demanded for such products will fall. And at the same time, consumers will start thinking about alternatives, substitutes to that product. Is it clear? That is demand and price. So for demand and price, there's what we call inverse relationship. Because as price goes up, the quantity demanded for a product will fall. As price goes down, the quantity demanded for a product rises. So that is what we call inverse relationship. I think it's clear. Is it clear, please?
Yes.
So we go to individual and market demand. Economists study individual and more commonly market demand, as its name suggests. Individual demand is the amount of a product an individual would be willing and able to buy at different prices. So your ability and willingness to buy our products is individual demand. Then what makes it a market demand? Market demand is the total demand for a product at different prices. So the total demand of that product in the market is the market demand. So different individuals wants to buy. So the total of these individuals coming together to buy is what we call market demand. So the total demanded for such products in the market is the market demand. Customer A is buying, customer B is buying. It's still individual. But when it becomes A, B, C, D, E, F together, it becomes market demand. That means the total number of these customers will be buying the same product at the same price. Is it clear? Then we go to the demand schedule. A demand schedule lists the different quantities demanded of a product at different prices over a particular period of time or time period. So the demand schedule is a table showing the relationship between the price and the quantity demanded of a product over a given period of time. A demand schedule is what? A table showing the relationship between the quantity demanded of a product and the price of such product at a given period of time. Is it clear? So we have the price on one side and the quantity demanded on the other side. Any question about that? Then go to the demand curve. A demand curve is a graph that shows the inverse relationship between the quantity demanded and the price of a product. As soon as we have a demand schedule, it means we're going to have a demand curve. So a demand curve shows the inverse relationship that we're talking about in terms of quantity demanded and the price. Do you get it?
Yes.
So look at the price here. As the price increases, the quantity demanded falls. So at the price of 10, the quantity demanded goes to around 5,000. As the price increases to $50, the quantity demanded reduces to 1,000. That is the inverse relationship we're talking about. So that means the demand curve is what? Downward slope.
What is the demand?
Demand is the ability and the willingness to buy. You want to buy this bottle of water. That is demand. You demand for this. But it has to be effective. Not that you only want to drink this water. Not that, oh, I need to buy this water, but you don't have the money to buy it. You even have the money to buy it, but you're not willing to buy. It's still not demand. So effective demand comes with ability and willingness to pay for a product. That is demand. And the demand curve is what? Downward slope. Why is it downward slope? It is downward slope because as the price falls, the quantity demanded increases. So as the price goes down, the quantity demanded increases. Do you get it? Any question about that? Shall we move on? So that's all about this. And okay, we'll go down. The effect of a change in price on demand. Are you there? So as noted earlier, a fall in the price of a product is likely to lead to a rise in demand for it. Economists refer to this as extension in demand. Expansion in demand or an increase in the quantity demanded. So there's extension, which means as price reduces, the quantity demanded increases, which is what? Expansion. Extension is the same as what? Expansion. That means the quantity demanded has increased. And that will only happen in demand if the price of the quantity, if the price of the product falls. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
So seeing the world as an extension in demand, expansion in demand, or an increase in the quantity demanded will tell an economist that the cause of a change in demand is a change in the price of the product itself. So there's expansion in demand, there's extension in demand because there's a change in price. A change in price that is witnessed here is a fall in price. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
So that is the extension. There's extension. Look at it now. A fall in price from P to P1 will extend the quantity demanded from Q to Q1. That is the extension. So that's why we call it what? A downward slope. Is it clear?
Yes.
A fall in price from P to P1 increases the quantity demanded or extends the quantity demanded from Q to Q1 based on the graph. Clear?
Yes.
So the diagram shows that a fall in price from P to P1 has caused, okay, extension. So in contrast, a rise in price will cause what? Contraction in demand. Contraction. Expansion or extension, contraction. A contraction will be as a result of what? An increase or a rise in the price of a product. A rise in the price of a product from P to P1 will contract the quantity demanded from Q to Q1. That means the quantity demanded will fall. That is contraction. If quantity demanded increases, it is expansion or extension. If the quantity demanded falls, it is contraction. It contracts, it falls, it reduces. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
7.4. Conditions of demand. Price is not the only influence on demand. There are a range of causes of changes in demand. So, note, price is not the only thing that causes or that influences demand. There are other factors that influence demand. So most of the time, we stop buying a product, not because of the price. There are other reasons why we stop buying a product. There are other reasons why we continue to buy a product, not because the price has fallen. So there are different reasons why people will demand for a product. So this is what we call factors that affect the quantity demanded of a product, or factors that affect demand, or conditions of demand. Are you with me? But if price is the influence on demand, it is contraction or extension. If price is the factor that influences our quantity demanded, so our quantity demand will either contract or extend. But other factors would not lead to contraction and expansion, it will lead to what we call a shift in demand. So when there is a change in the price of a product, it leads to movements along the demand curve. When there's a change in the price of a product, it leads to movement along the demand curve, which is the movement is either contract or expand. But if other factors influences what we demand for, there will be what we call a shift in the demand curve. Price will lead to movements. Other factors, which is non-pricing factors, will lead to what we call a shift in the demand curve. Are you with me? So there are ranges of changes in causes of changes in the demand, either more or less of a product being demanded, even if price is unchanged. If price is unchanged, it means if price is constant, other factors are changing. So that means price is constant. Price is constant. That means all things being equal, ceteris paribus. So other factors are changing, but price remains constant. So it means if the price of this product does not change from 1 or 2, you might still not buy it. If the price remains 1, you might not want to buy because of different reasons. One, it might be because you don't have that income to buy. Not because the price is high or less, but you don't have the money to buy it. 2, it might not be the kind of what you want. 3, your friends could influence you not to buy. Do you see? So there are different reasons other than price that would make the demand of a product increase or reduce. So here we're talking about price being constant. Is it clear?
Yes.
For example, in a period of hot weather, there's likely to be an increase in demand for ice cream. So the quantity demanded will rise at each and every price level. A new demand schedule can be drawn up to show the higher level of demand. So the demand for ice cream will increase because the weather is hot, not because of the price. So at each price level, the demand will continue to rise because it is the weather condition. Is it clear? Yes. Clear, right? So on the diagram, an increase in demand is shown by a shift to the right of the demand curve or to the left. So as we have change in prices, which leads to movement, contraction, and expansion. So we have non-pricing factors, which will lead to a shift in the demand curve. So a shift in the demand curve could be to the right or to the left. If the demand of a product is increasing as a result of an influence of a non-pricing factor, it leads towards a shift rightward in the demand curve. If the demand of a product is falling based on influence on the non-pricing factors, it leads towards a leftward shift in the demand curve. So rightward shift implies to an increase in demand. Leftward shift implies to reduction in demand. Is it clear? So an increase in the demand for ice cream will shift the demand curve rightward from D to D1. That means there's an increase in the demand curve from D to D1. Is it clear? Yes. So an increase in demand, besides increasing, demand for ice cream may decrease too during periods of cold weather. Consumers tend to demand less ice cream, such as decrease in demand is illustrated by a shift to the left. So during the winter time, the demand for ice cream would fall. Not because the price is rising or the price is falling. Because at that point in time, the weather condition does not warrant us to take ice cream. So irrespective of the price, the demand for ice cream would fall. Bringing it what? The demand curve leftward from D to D1. That's the leftward shift. Is it clear? Is it clear, please? Yes. All right. Now we go to causes of changes in demand. Are you there? Are you there, please? Yes. So, among the factors that can cause consumers to demand different quantities of a product, even if the price does not change, are changes in income, changes in the price of related products, advertising campaigns, changes in population, and changes in taste and fashion. So we start with changes in income. Income. This is the amount of money you make. This is the amount of money you have. This is the amount of money you earn. So if the price of a product is not even increasing, your level of income will decide if you are able to buy or not. Yes or no?
Yes.
So this takes us to what we call inferior goods and normal goods. Here, what are inferior goods? Inferior goods are goods that we tend to buy more of them. Their demand tends to increase as our level of income falls. So those goods you think about when you don't have money are inferior goods. Do you get it? Oh, because you don't have so much cash. Yeah, let me just go and buy that. Such product is what? An inferior product. Goods that we think of buying when our level of income increases are called normal goods. Do you get it? It's inferior because you start thinking about buying it when you don't have money. It's normal when you start thinking about buying them because your level of income has increased. Do you understand the difference between inferior goods and normal goods? No, not really. Our level of income, that means the amount of money we are making. So let's assume you make $1,000. The level of income is $1,000 monthly. Now your level of income has fallen. So you don't make, you no longer make 1,000. You make 800 now. Those goods that you used to buy when you have 1,000, you stop thinking about them. You start seeking for those goods that are cheaper to the ones you used to buy. It means those goods that you start thinking about buying now, based on the fact that your level of income has fallen, are called inferior goods. Do you get it now?
Yes.
Do you understand? So do you get changes in income now?
Yes.
So changes in income is not based on the price. The price remains, but your own level of income has fallen. That's why you're not buying it anymore. So those goods are all called inferior goods. Normal goods. But those goods that you are able to buy when your level of income rises, they are normal goods. I think it's clear. Clear, right? So go. Changes in the price of related goods. Oh, sorry, please. Yeah. Changes in price of related goods. An increase in, when we talk about related goods, we're talking about substitutes. The price of substitutes can also determine the quantity demanded of a product. For example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. If the price of Coca-Cola increases, the demand for Coca-Cola might fall. People might start buying Pepsi. Substitute. Not the price of the product now. So we stop buying product A because product B is cheaper than product A. It is not the same as the price of a product. Please get the point here. If the price of Coca-Cola increases and people stop buying Coca-Cola, the demand for Coca-Cola falls. Not because of the substitute. It is a movement in the demand curve. But if we stop buying Coca-Cola because the price of Pepsi, which is a related product to Coca-Cola, reduces, that is a shift in the demand curve. Do you understand? That's why we call it the price of substitutes, not the price of the product. Price of substitute will lead to shift in demand. Price of a product will lead to movement in the demand curve. Do you get the difference here? Clear? Is it clear now? So, an increase in the demand can be caused by a rise in the price of substitute product. So if the price of product A, which has a substitute as product B, increases, the demand for product A might fall because the price of product A has increases. People might start buying product B as a result. That is a price of related products. That is for substitutes. Are you with me?
Yes.
Demand will also increase if the price of complement falls. So for complement goods, these are goods that are used in line with others. Example, these are goods that you have to use them with other products, like the phone and the battery, the laptop and the laptop charger. The laptop charger is a complement to the laptop. So if the price of laptop chargers falls, a lot of people might demand for more laptops. Do we get it? Do you understand what I'm saying here? If the price of a complementary product falls, the demand for its complement might increase. Do you get it? No. Substitute goods are goods that are close to usage. That means they can be used instead of using that product that you used to buy. Product A and product B. They can be used in the same way. They can serve the same purpose. That is substitutes. Complementary goods are goods that you have to use with other goods, like tea and sugar, like biscuits and juice. They are complements. Do you get it? A phone and its charger. A laptop and a laptop charger. They are complements, yes or no? A pouch and a phone and the phone itself. So if the demand for a complementary good, if the price of a complementary product falls, demand for the product that it complements might rise. So if the price of a laptop charger falls, or if the price of a laptop falls, the demand for laptop chargers might rise. It will lead to what? A shift in the demand curve, not movement. Because we're talking about price of related goods, which can be a complement, or a substitute. So a change in the price of related goods, which is either a complement or a substitute, will lead to a rightward shift or leftward shift in the demand for such products. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Sure. Yes. Shall we move on? Yes. Okay, now they said, decide whether each of the following is a substitute or a complement to a Volkswagen car. Volkswagen, yeah. A complement. A substitute or a complement. Public transport.
No, it's petrol.
Petrol. They said decide whether of each of the following is a substitute or a complement.
Public transport is a substitute. Petrol is a complement, and Ford car is a substitute.
Thank you. Clear?
Yes.
Is it clear now? Is it clear, please? Yeah. So another factor that will decide if we demand more of a product or demand less of a product is advertising campaign. What is advertisement? Creating awareness about the importance of a product. So if your advertisement is successful, the demand for your product might increase, leading to what? A shift in the demand curve. But if your advertisement fails, it might lead to what? A leftward shift in the demand curve for your product. That's about advertisement. Is it clear? We go to changes in population. Population is about increase in the numbers of people. So an increase in the birth rate might increase the number of the demand for a product. A fall in birth rate might lead to a fall in the demand for a product. Yes or no? Yes. Did you get it? Do you understand what we're talking about here? Changes in population can decide if the demand for a product increases or reduces. Clear?
Yes.
The third one, changes in taste and fashion. Are you there? Are you there, please?
Yes.
Certain products are particularly influenced by changes in taste and fashion. This includes food, clothes, and entertainment. A rise in vegetarianism in a number of countries has caused the demand for meat to decrease. You see, the influence on lifestyle. So here in this country, there are a lot of vegetarians. If there are a lot of vegetarians, it means the demand for meat will fall. Yes or no? So not because the price of meat is increasing or reducing, the price is constant. But the increase in population or the increase in numbers of vegetarians has led to what? A fall in the demand for meat. That's what they're talking about here, taste and fashion. Do you get it or not? Yes. Health report can have significant influence on demand for particular foods. Designer trainers have become more popular in many countries, and the rise in the popularity of football in Asia and Africa has increased the demand for football shirts and football merchandise. Do you see? Now, a lot of people watch football. As a result, they want to buy football merchandise.
Mm.
They want to buy football jerseys. They want to buy football boots. They want to buy these things. So these are what changes in taste and fashion that has led to an increase or decrease in certain demand for goods or service. Is it clear? Is it clear, please?
Yes.
Other factors. A range of other factors can influence demand for a product. It was mentioned earlier that a change in weather conditions will affect the demand for ice cream. Such a change would also affect shift the demand curve for umbrellas, soft drinks, and clothing. A change in the weather condition. If the weather is cold, it's winter, it's raining, the demand for umbrellas would increase. The demand for jackets or sweatshirts would rise. The demand for cold drinks would fall. The demand for t-shirts would reduce. Yes or no? So these are other factors that could also influence demand. Any question about it?
No.
Is it clear, please? So go down. Multiple choice questions. What is measured on the vertical axis of the demand diagram?
Right.
Vertical. We have these and these. Which one is vertical?
Vertical, like this.
Okay.
Right.
Price. Thank you. So price is on the vertical side, and the horizontal side is what? Quantity demanded. Is it clear?
Yes.
So what happens to people? To people's willingness and ability to buy a product when its price falls?
Increase.
The willingness,
Willingness increase.
ability,
Please.
both increases. Yes. Yes or no?
Yes, so it's
A, right?
yes.
The third question.
Increase demand is represented by
An increase in demand is represented by
A shift to the left.
no right.
an increase in demand.
It's demand, not
Is-
price.
An increase in demand is represented by
Shift to the right.
Shift to the right of the demand curve.
a shift to the right of the demand curve. D.
Yes.
Clear, right? Not an increase in price.
No, it's not price.
Are you with me? Now,
It's demand.
the price of product rises. What will happen to the demand for its complement? If the price of a product rises, what will happen to the demand for its complement?
Increase. Increase.
It will what?
It rises the product, the price of the product.
Extend.
So it's decrease. Contract. Could contract.
The price of a product. What happens to the demand for its complement?
Oh, for its complement. So it's increasing.
So it will what?
Increase because yeah,
It
increase.
will increase.
You didn't read the question.
Listen, they didn't say the price of, they said what happens to the complement, to its complement. What happens to the product itself? It will contract or expand.
But the
But the price of the complement, what happens to the demand for the complement?
increase.
Will it increase or decrease?
Increase.
But when you have an option like shift, yes, you could choose shift. But it is not contract.
It's not contract, it's not because it's all in prices.
Price will only contract or expand, which is what movements along the demand curve. Is it clear?
Right.
Any question about it?
Yes.